Right, hi YouTube. As you can see, I've had to buy some odd luggage. Well, I haven't had to buy some odd luggage. I've chose to buy some odd luggage, and let me tell you why that was. On my recent trip where I've done the Three Kingdoms, I had some soft luggage mounted on the back of the seat, and as you know, you have to refuel by lifting the back seat, and that proved a little bit of a pain. It's possible, so if you've got that, you can do it. However, what I was finding is with the luggage on the back seat, it was proving very difficult to get on and off, and getting off caused me some issues. So if you watch the video, you'll find out what those ones are. So eventually I've decided that I've had to bite the bullet and invest some money and put some odd luggage on. So what version did I go for? Well, as you can see, I've gone for the SHAD SH35 Panniers, and they come with the 3-point sort of mounting system. So I'll show you that in a second. So that's why I've had to do it. They were approximately, I think the mounting kit was about £152, and the panniers that I've chose for, these are the most expensive ones, are £345, and they do some cheaper ones, but I'll tell you about that when we get to the panniers. So first of all, to fit them was really quite easy, and I'll take the panniers off in a second and talk you through the fitting. And but before I do that, I just want to talk about the panniers a little bit. So SHAD do in effect 4 types of panniers. They do some Terra panniers, which are like big adventure type boxes, and some top loading ones, the SH23, which are some top loading sort of panniers that look a little bit like the things that go onto the GS. These ones, which are the SH35, take obviously 35 litres, and some slightly bigger ones, SH36 ones that are all black. And funny enough, they're cheaper. So the all black ones are $299, and you get a bit more capacity. So anyway, I've gone for it. What do I think of them so far? Well, they're okay, all right. They're okay, but they've got some bits and issues. So first of all, let me tell you about the panniers. Initially, I bought the SH23 panniers. Well, I say I bought them, I ordered them, and the good people at bikeluggage.co.uk phoned me up and said that they were incompatible with my bike. And what apparently happens is when the lid opens from the front here, and it fouls on this grab rail. So lucky enough, they pointed that out. And the two that are compatible with the 3-point mounting system, and I'll talk about that in a bit more detail later, is the SH35 and the SH36. So just don't make the same mistake that I did. The reason I chose the SH23 ones was they look a bit smarter, in my opinion, and there was a video of what looked like an NC750 with them on, so I thought they were compatible, but apparently they're not, so don't make that mistake. Right, so let me talk about the mounting systems, the 3-point mounting system. So as you can see here, hopefully, actually let me get it on this one so I can take this off a bit, and it'll be a little bit more. Yeah, so hopefully you can see that a bit better. The 3-point mounting system is literally that. The panniers here have a mounting point there and 2 mounting points at the top. And when this handle closes down, it lifts this up and clamps that top bar. This is supported, obviously, by mounting in there. They're relatively straightforward to mount, but these rubber mounts are quite stiff. So until they wear a little bit, they're quite stiff to get on and off. But that's what the 3-point mounting system does. The other type that they do is a 4-point mounting system, which gives you the traditional pannier racks that sat down there. And I didn't want them. I just think they look a little bit too ugly. But what they do with those 4-point ones is they're able to take those Terra panniers. So have a look, decide what type of panniers you want, and obviously match the mounting system to suit. And I'm not 100% convinced about this mounting system, but it seems to be working. Like I say, it's a bit stiff to get the panniers on and off. But what I am really pleased with, if you just step back and have a look here, is they don't spoil the lines of the bike, really. You can notice them, but to all intents and purposes, they follow the lines of the bike. And they're not super ugly like the big ones that sat on the side. So that's what I was doing. Right, so when I come to fit them, there's a few little things that I found. Is right, so they mount here, so you have to take this grab rail off by removing these two bolts. So take the old grab rail off. You then have to fit this side bit in there, yep, and then mount this rail to that side panel. And now there's lots of videos on YouTube that show you how to do that, but a lot of people have been having issues with the bolts. Now, as you can see, I don't know if you can see in here, the amount of clearance that I've got is more than enough, yeah. And a lot of people were saying that their bolts were rubbing on there. The way that I made that clearance a little bit better is when this was loose, I pulled this bracket out as far as I could. There was a bit of play, and then I nipped it down to give me the maximum amount of clearance there. And as you can see, I don't think I've got any problems with the clearances of these bolts, and it's the same on the other side. There's no problem. Another tip is, I thought if I sort of put a sub-assembly together by mounting this to that first and then sliding it all in, it would fit. And you can do it, but it's really, really fiddly. So I would say just cut through that rubbish, mount that plate, and then fix this on the bottom here. I don't know if you can see here, and then you can just sort of pivot that in and put these bolts in. Getting the back bolt in is a bit of a naff. You have to sort of hold it up with your, I got it with my fingers and was able to do it, but you can put it on a spanner or whatever. But it's nothing super challenging about it. And it mounts here and here, and obviously at the bottom. That bolt at the bottom, you'll see that some other YouTubers have said this is quite long. I agree. You could get another bolt, and I might do that in the fullness of time, just go and buy another bolt that's a bit more suited, but I'm not really too worried about that. So that's it. So when we come to the other side, it's mounted slightly differently, and it's maybe a bit darker, unfortunately. It's just the way it is. So exactly the same up here, yeah. And as you can see, I've got plenty of gaps between that and these plastic panels here, and then it mounts down here into where the foot hanger and the exhaust mounts. And yet again, the bolt is quite long. I don't know if you can see in there, it is quite long, but like I say, you can get other bolts, and that's how it goes together. One tip to make is to the instructions tell you to remove the seat, and it tells you to take all these bolts out. You don't need to do that, but what you do need to do is disconnect this support rod here by taking that split pin out. And there's things, and that's one of the mistakes I made, is I pulled that split pin out. There's a spring in there, and that spring and that washer went flying. I couldn't find that spring. I did have the split pin though, but in my haste to try and find the spring, I put the split pin down here, and the split pin fell down here, so I had to go and get a new split pin and new thing. So just be a bit careful when you take that off. And then you won't lose those parts. I just reordered them. They're very, very cheap, and refitted some new ones in, and everything's good. So I can put that down. So it's all relatively straightforward. So let's get on to the panniers themselves, and we'll see. I'll just mount them, and you'll see some of the issues that I'm potentially have. Well, it's not an issue. It's just they're new, and there's a bit of a stiff. They're a bit stiff, and I'll talk about that in a second. So the 3 points. You mount them in there. Oh, got to get it up. Bring them over, and then you just push them down until the things are right, and then just close that. Just push that down, and that's them mounted. To open them, obviously you've got to key. You press that, lift that up, and then this flap here. It weren't obvious at the moment. You lift that flap, and obviously the panniers open up. And as you can see, one of the things I really liked was this tray that they give you here. It helps support it. So what can you get in there? Right, here's my full face helmet. Now I know this doesn't fit. Apparently the SH36 ones will take a full face helmet, but I've not proved that. When that goes in there, you can see that it's just not going to fit no matter what way around you put it. Even if I take the intercom off, yeah, it will sort of lead you to think that you can get it in. But mine's are large, there is no way that it's going in. Yeah, There is no way whatsoever. It's just not going to happen. So it won't take a full face helmet. So just prove that. However, this is my wife's open face helmet with the intercom on and everything else, and that will fit in really quite easily. I'll just take this the intercom off to show you how it does go fit in. And that fits in there. Oh, how do I put that in? Oh, it does go right. I've had it in before, so it does fit. I assume. There you go. So an open face helmet will fit, but a full face one won't. Like I say, the guys at Bike Luggage said that the 36 litre one will take a full face helmet, but like I say, I can't prove that. You've only got their word for it. So what else will go in it? So this is just a traditional rucksack. When it was full right to the top, I couldn't get it in. But if you take a little bit of stuff, just leave a little bit at the bottom. Yeah, away it goes. This went in easy enough, and you can tell already that the shelf gives you a nice bit. You know it's going to fit. Yep. And what is also a good feature about this is when you do open it up, and that opens, this lot don't fall out because of the shelf. You obviously have these fixing straps to hold stuff in, but you can see you can get stuff in there. Now in terms, but disappointingly, I couldn't fill a full rucksack up. So how much did I get in there? Quite a lot. Bear in mind you've got two, but you can sort of see I was only able to fill it sort of 3/4 of the way. Now that will probably be enough for me because you've got two of them, and as you know, we've got the front to take there, so there's going to be plenty of storage. So that's probably the panniers themselves. Right, so just a quick one when you get them off. Right, so I don't know if this is going to be, you're going to be able to see this properly, but you press the button and lift that. You then have to lift it again. Now this, for me, just feels, it does work. It's got like two levers down there, and if you do that, pull that, it will release that bottom catch. But for me, it just feels like it's plastic and it's going to break a little bit. It isn't. It's quite strong, but for me, it just doesn't feel that. So what I've been doing is just putting my hand under here. You can see it, and I can just push that back, and oh, he says, and then you can take the pannier off. So there you go, and we'll mount it one more time. But like I say, they are quite stiff at the moment. Right, okay. So another observation that I've got with them. Just like I say, I'm hoping that when they sort of have been on and off a couple of times, they'll be a little bit more easier to pick up. Oh right, that's my fault. Sorry. The latch was back. See what I mean? Right, so that's them on. So another observation that I've made is, and I'll show you the back in a second, is the width of these. Now you might be able to see from the top, yeah, that they slope a little bit. They don't sit completely straight. And what that does mean is then is at the back you have some 34 inches, but at the front you're into more like 40, 41. Now the handlebars are roughly 38 inches give or take a little bit, you know, a bit of extra. So if you're filtering, these are going to be wider than your handlebars, and you need to be aware of that. Right. So, but yeah, so there you go. So I think that's probably all I want to say. Yeah, I've got to put them to the test, and on my next trip out, they will be put to the test, and hopefully I'll be able to give you a bit more review in that. But I've tested them; they're good. I'm pleased I've got them, but like I say, I'd rather have gone with some form of soft luggage rather than hard luggage. But it's going to be better. Oh, last thing, getting on and off the bike. It's relatively straightforward to do, though. This extra weight does mean you have to swing your leg a little bit higher. Yeah. So I've been just literally getting up on the pegs and coming over, whether it's on the side stand or not, just to give me that little bit of extra bit because I'm getting older, my hips are going. Anyway, hopefully you found that interesting. If you've got any comments or you sort of need any further information, you know what to do. Let me know.